Hello, beautiful ones. Zion here. And I want to talk about the importance of listening to your own body, listening to your yes, your no, listening to your gut feeling. And not just listening, but actually building a relationship with yourself, being consistent in this process of listening. Being consistent in this process of checking in with yourself, because this is one of the most important things that I constantly talk about with the women I work with in womb healing one-on-one, my workshops with friends, women who want to connect more deeply with themselves, or women who have issues in their womb, in their menstrual cycle, in their relationships, in their sexuality, with their feminine energy. Listening is such an important part of feminine energy, because feminine energy really needs that presence, right? In order to be felt, in order to be received. We need to receive ourselves, and sometimes we're just living, we're just doing, and we're on autopilot, and sometimes we don't realize the ways that we're not being true to ourselves, that we're not really acting based on what's authentic for us and what's right for us. And so that's one of the biggest reasons why women have menstrual pain, issues in their cycle, and so many other things. And it's important to make a conscious choice. That's what was coming through today to share. Listening is a choice. It's a conscious choice. Finding the silence, choosing to feel yourself, to be present with yourself. It's a choice. And when you really feel, then you can be connected to what's true for you. Then you will be clear about your boundaries. Then you will be much more empowered and moved by the power inside of you, the fire that moves you, that shows you the way, and that gives you the strength to make the changes that you need to make, to speak up for yourself, right? And this practice of listening, of tuning in, it's very powerful, and sometimes it's very challenging. It's true. And that's why a lot of people don't do it, because it can be confronting, right? To listen to yourself and notice that something's off, to realize that some things might need to change, that you might need to have difficult, uncomfortable conversations, sometimes with yourself or with people around you. And still, if you're not listening, whose life are you living? Because it's not yours. You can only really live authentically and really only live your true life when you're living by what's true to you, what's authentic for you. And you don't have to please anybody. And I know the collective pressure that there is on women to people please, right? To take care of others, to put other people before ourselves, to violate our own boundaries. Oh my goodness. We've glorified in such a quiet way sacrifice and giving ourselves away and giving our power away. But there's nothing admirable about that. There's nothing admirable about not listening to ourselves or doing what we think other people want from us, or doing the things that we're used to doing, right? It's worth it. Feeling, even if it's uncomfortable, it's worth it. and when you really lean in and notice what's happening in your body, then you have the clarity and you know where to go. You know your direction. You know where you're moving to. Or at least you know what's right for you, and you can start to make steps in a way that feels safe for you, right? So what's your body saying? A practice that you can just have throughout the day. And this might seem small, but it's not, because it really changes everything. A practice that you can have is to slow down throughout the day and to notice how you're feeling, right? To just stop. Breathe. What's happening in your body? How do you feel? This thing that you're thinking, that you're feeling, this thing you're about to do, or this thing you're engaged with, this conversation, this situation, this place, how does it feel? Is it a yes? Is it a no? And you will start to learn to really listen to the truth of your body deeper and deeper and deeper, and building this capacity and this sensitivity with yourself, with your body, the more that you listen. And it's gonna get easier and easier, and that's what keeps us in alignment, and that's what keeps us in an authentic life and in integrity with ourselves, right? Like when we're true to ourselves, so many things solve themselves. So many menstrual issues that we have, so many problems in the womb, so many problems in our relationships, so many emotional blockages, they disappear. So sometimes your no might feel like a contraction. It might feel like tension, might feel like a closing off. Your yes might feel like excitement. It might feel like opening. It might feel receptive. It might feel like something's pulling you in. And it's different sensations for each and every one of us. And that's why it's a personal relationship. And that's another beautiful part about listening, that you get to know yourself personally, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what anybody else says. It doesn't matter what any expert or spiritual teacher says. It doesn't matter. Only you know what's right for you. Only you know, and only your body knows, and the body does never lie. And sometimes also I want to clarify that this is something that we were talking about in my masterclass a couple of days ago. It doesn't mean that everything you think or everything you feel reflects a reality. That's not what it means when I'm saying that what the body is saying is true. Because sometimes you might have a lot of negative thoughts about yourself or a situation. You might feel really insecure, or you might have a lot of self-doubt or feel scared, for example. It doesn't mean that you're not good enough, that you're not lovable, or that you're truly in a dangerous situation. That's not always the case. But there's still truth behind the feelings. There's still truth behind the thoughts, in the sense that there's true boundaries, true needs, true desires. There's true things about ourselves that we need to take care of. And it's so important to not minimize the things that we're feeling and brush it over and just say, oh no, it's fine. Is it though? Questioning everything. And sometimes those things that we feel do alert us of our reality. Sometimes our intuition, our wombs, our menstrual cycle, our bodies say no, right? And this happens a lot in our sexual life to a lot of women, where they have issues in their yoni, in their womb, in their periods, right? Vaginal pain, tension, candida overgrowth, and all these things that close us off. Sometimes the body's saying, no, I don't want this. Whatever this means, can be a lot of things, right? Or sometimes we just have a gut feeling when we're with someone, or when we're about to do something, or we're engaging with whatever's going on, and it doesn't feel right. If it doesn't feel right, it's because it's not completely right. Even if it's just for one part of yourself, that's already worth listening. It's such a self-loving practice. It's a very deep self-loving practice is very unconditional, because it's not based on whether it's important enough or not. It's coming from the assumption that everything you feel is important enough to be felt and heard and seen. And when you approach yourself in that way, you really start to tap into some gems. And it's really important to question everything, to question the way that we live our lives, to question the ways that we relate to other people, the ways that we relate to ourselves, to our bodies, the products that we use in our bodies, right? If you have menstrual pain, questioning whether you want to be on birth control or not, questioning whether using tampons or regular pads is actually healthy for you, questioning whether the way you're relating on a sexual or emotional level is actually true for you, questioning whether your current lifestyle is truly healthy or not for you, questioning everything. And we are super intuitive, and it's like a part of us knows, we know. And it doesn't mean that we have to make changes and shifts all of a sudden and everything has to be in alignment all the time. That's impossible. Well, it's pretty difficult, life happens, and it's a process. It's not about setting that unrealistic expectation or that pressure on ourselves. It's much more about having a relationship with ourselves, having a relationship with the truths that our bodies speak all the time. And how beautiful is it to be so loving with ourselves in that way? There's so much beauty that we tap into. And as I said before, it becomes this heightened sense, this heightened capacity. Our intuition gets stronger. And more than getting stronger, our capacity to listen becomes more attuned, more refined, and more clear, right? There's a channel of communication happening between our bodies and ourselves and our conscious awareness. So when we're listening, all the wisdom, all the messages, all the guidance can actually come through. And there's where we find what we need to know. When we have doubts, when we don't understand, when we're blocked with certain, situations in our life, all of us are figuring things out. It's all about listening. That's been my experience in my journey and working with women for many years. And this practice is one of the most important, again, as if you have any kind of issue in your womb. Any kind of issue. Because she's gonna speak to you. In fact, the pain, the discomfort, the ailment is already her, your womb, speaking to you. It's already your body saying, pay attention. Pay attention, listen, right? And sometimes it manifests into the physical body because we're not listening on an emotional level to the messages that want to come through. We're not listening. But if we listen, then there's no need for there to be a physical ailment in the first place. And this is a practice, because it's not just enough to listen one day and ignore ourselves, ignore our truth, ignore our inner voice the next day. Imagine if you had a relationship with someone and they treated you like that. I know I used to. I used to be in relationships that were on and off. Now I'm here for you, now I'm not. Now I treat you really well, now I treat you like crap. But that's called abuse and neglect. And that's not the kind of relationship that we need to be having with ourselves if we want to feel truly at peace and have healthy wombs and healthy relationships, right? So we need to be honest with ourselves about whether we are really showing up for ourselves in the way that we deserve. And again, it's not about being perfect, but it's just about setting the intention. It's just about keeping this practice in mind to, okay, how am I feeling? Is this true for me? Do I really want to do it, or do I not want to do it? And it's totally valid. Whatever the answer is, it's right for you. And it's your life, no one else's. You're the one who has to feel good and in integrity with yourself, no one else. And another thing that can really help us to connect is silence, right? To have silence, to have time for ourselves, to journal, creating any kind of environment that helps us to actually drop in. For some of us, it's also dancing. That's me. Or meditating or yoga, whatever it is that brings you back to yourself. And for me, that's actually the intention for a lot of things that I do. It's not just because it's good for my body or it's good for my mental health. It's actually because I am creating a space where I can tune in with myself properly and deeply. Because I can do it throughout the day, and that's also important. But sometimes we need something more. And we can put in these practices in our routines, in our lives, right? Even if it's 5 minutes, 15 minutes every morning of journaling, of connecting with yourself, that's already going to make a huge difference. And if you listen to even deeper and you drop into what's happening in your body and even deeper what's happening in your womb, you will find precious pearls of wisdom and insight that you didn't even know you needed. And it's truly, truly life-changing and beautiful to be connected with the body and the womb in this way. This is one of the things that I work with all the time and that I can support you with in a very practical way, guiding you into your body through feminine embodiment practices and womb journeys. So if you're feeling called to go deeper, to receive support, to have someone with you who's going to direct you inwards, who's going to give you the guidance and offer you presence consistently, send me a DM. I currently have 2 spots open for my womb healing program, Cyclical Woman. This program is a 4-week program where we travel through the menstrual cycle and feminine archetypes that live within you. So you get to connect with yourself so deeply, so deeply. If you have any kind of issue with your menstrual cycle, this is absolutely for you. But even if you don't, and you just want to connect more with the power of your feminine energy and what's happening inside of you, and reconnect with these powerful feminine forces of the feminine archetypes that live inside of you, then Cyclical Woman is for you. Because it gives you tools, it gives you information, it gives you the guidance, and it gives you the connection to these parts of you and to this womb wisdom that you can use for the rest of your life to create, to manifest, to heal, to connect with yourself, to resource, to get clarity and guidance. And you are fully supported in this journey because you have access to me for 4 weeks. And that's one of the things that I love the most about my one-on-one containers. And I haven't opened up spots for this container in like a year. Right now, I'm just working with women 3 to 6 months. So it's a longer commitment, but this is just 4 weeks. And still these 4 weeks are super deep. You have me right there with you in your back pocket to message me anytime something comes up, anytime you have a question, anytime you want support, anytime you just want to be heard, anytime you want to celebrate, right? You have someone there with you. And recently I received support from someone in a container, and it made me appreciate this so much. Like the fact that you can reach out and have someone who's putting energy to help you move in a direction that you want to go, then it's not just you by yourself. To have someone else listening to you and asking you questions and supporting you, it's one of the most powerful gifts that we can give ourselves. I honestly and truly believe that. And I wouldn't be where I am if it wasn't for that kind of support that I receive. So if you're curious about Cyclical Woman, it's such a beautiful journey. Reach out. I am offering free calls, free discovery calls to connect and see if this is a good match, to make sure that this is for you, make sure that I can support you. And just feel it in your body. Again, the same message from today. If you feel it in your body, if you feel a calling, if you feel like you want to go deeper in one way or another, you know, maybe it's cyclical woman, maybe it's something else, but if you're feeling pulled, I'm here. I love to connect. And this work is so much more powerful than what we think. It's way beyond the womb. It's way beyond the menstrual cycle. It's a full body, full life work. And the word work can kind of be a bit, you know, we can have negative associations with it, but more than work, it's just this journey. I can't tell you how beautiful it is, but I can tell you that it feels really liberating to live from this place of connection. And I can't wait to share this with you. So I'm here if you need me, if you feel called. Applications close on October 8th. So if you want a chance to take a spot in Cyclical Woman, PM me as soon as possible and we will set up your call. I'm sending you so much love. Thank you for being here and thank you for listening to yourself.